Well, first, let's just say welcome. Welcome to our virtual fundraiser, Santo and Dominique. Yes, our first scholar and our third scholar.
Right. I love that when Russell was accepted into the CIA, he thought he was going to start right away. He didn't understand, the stream system that they had at the time.
Yeah.
And so he quit his job. He gave notice to his job that he was going to leave and he was going to come home and he was going to start at the CIA. But of course, they didn't have any classes starting in the CIA. They didn't have any pastry streams starting until March. And even then, they didn't really have room for him. But somehow, with a couple of phone calls from people that we knew and that knew CIA people, they took him in March.
Yeah, it's classic Russell. Like, no, I'm ready to learn now. If you don't put me in class now, I'm never doing this.
So how did, Dominique, you were our first, so how did you get involved in CCAP?
I got involved in CCAP when I was picking out my high school because I'm not sure if they still do it or not. You had to pick out your high school, like your top 3 high schools that you want to go to on the little form. Mm-hmm. And my choice was Long Island City High School because of the culinary program, because I wanted to cook. So I got accepted into the culinary program. And LIC was already in with CCAP because they've had scholars long time. People we know on TV nowadays went to LIC. So that's how I got involved.
How intense was the preparation for those competitions?
It wasn't that bad. It was fun. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Everybody else was like, don't worry. If you worry, you mess up. Just decompress.
Yeah.
But you had to
dressing the chicken. I always remember how to French a chicken breast now.
You know what I always think about the potatoes. How everybody.
Oh, the turnot. I can't do those no more. 7 sides and an equal point on each side.
I know, exactly. I mean, and that you had to memorize the recipe.
Yes. But my pastry cream is even better now.
Your pastry cream. Oh, I can't make
even better now. That's really how I got the scholarship. But Mr. Grousman, his daughter, she was one of the tasters for the competition.
Deborah.
Like, yes, she's like, her crepes are really good. No, like her crepes are excellent good. She kept saying that over and over again.
But she's going to be on tomorrow night.
Oh, so I said hello.
She's going to be representing CCAP for us.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you get involved in CCAP, Santo?
How did I get involved in CCAP? So when I went to high school, I remember the freshman year you would do the walk around when like you were in the 8th grade, and they had a culinary program. My mom's like, "Oh, you should join the culinary program." Meanwhile, I went to school for I wanted to do the automotive side of it. So they had an automotive school and they had culinary, and my junior year, I needed to take an extra class in high school. So I said, all right, that's fine. I'll do culinary. At the time, I looked at it as just like a regular class, like something, an extra elective, something that I could actually do and get a good grade and bring my GPA up. So I remember my junior year, I wound up going into culinary class, and we started cooking and learning the basic fundamentals of cooking and stuff like that. And I started taking a liking into it. I was watching, I didn't know how the program really went. I remember they were getting involved with CCAP, and my high school never won anything from CCAP. At the time, meanwhile, in junior year, my cousin opened up a bakery on Staten Island, and I winded up working for him because I needed some extra money. I was getting my driver's license. I wanted to buy a car, so I was working in the bakery and stuff like that, and I started doing barista. That's where I started, really. And senior year rolls around, and my chef at the time was telling me, you should try, doing CCAP, try going for a scholarship. What are you going to do after high school? I had no intentions of, I didn't know what I wanted to do after high school. After high school, it was like, well, I'm working in a restaurant right now, and I kind of like it. I enjoy it. I really wanted to go into the military. My mom was like, she wanted to kill me before my time. She's like, absolutely not. She's like, you're not doing that. And I said to her, I was like, no, I really want to go into the Marines.
Oh, wow.
And,
How macho of you.
huh? Well, I saw it this way. I would go to college for free. I would see the world. And I
Yeah.
would help my country.
Yes.
So,
No,
I
I'm not
mean-
against it. I'm just,
right. That's where my mentality was 12 years ago.
right, okay.
So senior year, we started competing, and we did our first competition before CCAP. I did a competition with Johnny Azzini, with a bunch of different schools from, the 5 boroughs. It was also organized by CCAP, and we had to do a Bush to Noel cake. And he gave this strategic recipe that was just like, wasn't your average cook recipe. You know what I mean? Like, if you didn't know what you were doing, it was coming out bad. And I remember the presentation that we gave was terrible. I mean, I'm not going to lie, I'm going to be honest. I mean, if I had to do it today, it would be totally different. But we hit every component that he wanted. We followed that recipe to the T, and we wound up winning. And the prize of that was him coming to the school and giving a demonstration on like 2 of the things that they serve at John George.
Ah, okay.
So my chef Ryan at the time was like, listen, I need you to compete. You got to compete. You got to do it. He's like, throughout the year, we're going to go to tours. We're going to see different culinary schools. It's going to open up your mind. And I started thinking about it, and I'm like, well, working in the restaurant business, I kind of like what I'm doing. I always used to cook with my grandmother. Like, these were all things that were dawning back on me. So I said, okay, let's try it. He goes, this is the list of what you're going to do. He's like, you got to do a French omelet, classical French omelet. You had to do the special salad and the chicken dish, which was turning potatoes. I remember telling my cousin about this little adventure that I was joining. And he goes, listen, if you want to do well, that you want to do well in this competition, he's like, it's all repetition. It's all practice. I'm going to order you some stuff, but from now on, you're not going to work in the front of the house. You're going to work in the back of the house. And I never forget my first day working in his kitchen in the back of the house. I walked in after school. It was like 4 o'clock. And he had a chef there named David. And he told me, he's like, we're going to learn how to make mango mousse. I didn't even know how to whip cream. I've never did it. And he's teaching me, preparing the gelatin and the purees and everything like that. And I just see the sink piling up. My cousin walks into the kitchen and he goes to me, he goes, what are you doing? I said, David's teaching me how to make mango mousse. And my first experience working in a kitchen was, before you can run, you're going to have to crawl.
Wash the
My
dishes.
cousin turned around to me and said, you're not here to learn how to make mango mousse. You learn here how to wash dishes.
Okay.
That jump.
But in the gist of it, he said, after you're done washing dishes, you could practice for your competition. He goes, so this way you see how a kitchen really works. He used to have a sign in his kitchen that used to say 6 P's of life. Proper planning prevents piss poor performance. And that really stuck to me. I must have gone through cases of eggs. Chicken, like, by the time the competition came around, I was sick of everything. I did everything flawless, like I practiced over and over again. And the morning of the competition, like when they announced the winnings of the competition, I went with my mom and I told my mom, I said, look, I said, I gave it all that I got, no matter whatever comes out. I said, even if I won $500, at the end of the day, I had fun doing it. And
you did the best you could.
Huh?
And like you said, you gave it your all. You did the best you could.
Right. I said, nothing's going to change. I said, even if I got $500 scholarship, I woke up $500 richer than I did this morning, you know?
True.
And I remember sitting in that room and everybody's name being called. And I'm looking at my mom. She's like, all right, you know, you did a good job, you know? I said, yeah, I know. And I was the last one to be called. That was the first time I've ever met you.
Yep.
And I met you guys, and that experience was memorable. Something that, you know, you can't put a price on something like that. You know, watching your parents grow up, you getting a scholarship, you know, putting in the work, working hard, staying the long hours, practicing, repetition, you know, that's something that nobody could ever take away from you.
So true.
And
I
starting
want to know if you
at such a young age, you know, learning that has really helped me currently now, you know, in my lifetime. And I think that will continue to happen as I get older.
How was that experience for you, Dominique, when you got the scholarship? What was that experience like for you? Because I know that we've been to those. I don't think I went to the first couple of them, but I
No, you didn't. It was only your mother and your father that came to mind.
I've been to some of the award ceremonies since then, and I mean, it is powerful being in that room.
Yes. Initially,
that
I
I
thought
was-
I got the Johnson and Wales scholarship. So I didn't think I was going to get the CIA scholarship. So I mean, Bobby Flay said, all of you have a scholarship. I just can't tell you where, because he talked to Richard about who he was going to give the scholarship to. He didn't want to make sure it was like a double scholarship thing. And I was like, everyone's name being called. I was like, okay. Then it got down to the last two. I was like, alrighty. And then the girl who got the Johnson and Wales, she was sitting right next to me. And I said, I'm the last. I said, I think I got CIA, Ma. She was like, what? Like, what is that? Because I'd never even visited the school. I didn't visit the school until after I got the scholarship.
Wow. It's an amazing campus, isn't it? I mean, it's
Yes.
just, I remember going the first time we went up there with Russell. Russell originally applied to FCI. That's where he wanted to go. But he had really been such a screw up at that point that I said to him, you have to work in a restaurant for 6 months, or I'm not sending you to culinary school, because we had sent him to college out in California. So, and I always say we flushed all that money down the toilet, which was a lot of money, because he came home Thanksgiving and he never went back. So.
And he knew before Thanksgiving that he wasn't coming back. Those are stories that are not appropriate, probably for
this right now.
We could tell that. I'll tell you that story when we stop recording. Yeah. How did you guys find it? What was your experience like at the CIA?
It was fun. I have so many friends now that I still talk to from CIA. Basically, all my friends I talk to from the CIA, either CIA or later.
Yeah.
It was really fun. I loved it. I love the smell, especially in the bread class. It's something about fresh baked bread, hot out the oven. Because it gives this smell, and then you let it cool down a little bit. You just put a little smear of butter on it.
Yeah.
It's heaven.
Can't go wrong with a schmear.
Just a little smear. But it was so much fun. It was also a culture shock a little bit. Certain things.
Yeah.
Like those groundhogs, bless
They were
they
all
heart.
over the place.
Those groundhogs, I have a friend who was deathly afraid of the groundhogs. But of course,
I'll tell you a funny story about the groundhogs. My
But,
moving
like-
day was August 27th,
oh,
and my mother came to drop me off, and she was like the last one to leave. There was a groundhog, and I clapped my hands and I stomped my feet, and the groundhog ran past her, and she took off running into the car. I think it was like the best experience. Me and my sister talked about it. We laughed about it.
That's hilarious.
like I had a friend, like if she saw one, she couldn't move around. It's like, I'm gonna leave you out here. It's too cold for this. Goodbye. It's not thinking about you. But the geese, on the other hand, those things were vicious. Those geese, oh no, they would chase you.
That's funny. That's really funny that we asked you guys what you thought about the CIA, and you're like, "Oh, the wildlife, the
Wildlife
groundhogs."
was really good.
I mean,
It was. It
know,
was.
The CIA,
not just a culture shock. Dealing with some of our neighbors also was.
Yes, our neighbors. It was their land. We were just visiting.
Well, we love that we get to stay connected to you guys as well. I love.
But you've both done really interesting stuff since you left the CIA. Dominique first went back to Walt Disney World where you had done your externship.
Yes.
And so you went back there. And then you came back to the CIA to get your bachelor's. But
Yes,
tell
ma'am.
us about Disney.
Disney is a whole beast within itself. Because there's like 5 different culinaries. Like there's fast food, quick service, then casual dining, then fine dining, and then it's the grand buffets. So there's buffets, and then there's catered events.
Right.
It's just we worked muffins and cookies because I went on externship right before Christmas. So Christmas cookies was my thing. I was very good at sprinkling some cookies for Christmas that we didn't even use half of, but that's okay. Neither here nor there. So I did that. Then muffins for like daily conferences. Some days just 5 dozen, some days 120 dozen. So you have to go with the flow. I worked at the Polynesian, the Boardwalk, and the Yacht and Beach Club.
I remember when you worked at the Yacht and Beach Club.
Yes, the second time I went. Which all those are like the big ones. But then when I went to the Yacht and Beach, I forget, he was a very, very tall executive chef. He seemed very scary, but he wasn't. He was very nice. He's the one that did all those large gingerbread houses that you see the Disney Magic thing.
Oh, wow.
It's his recipe from Germany with a little bit of orange zest in it. And it's you have to make all the panels for him.
Wow.
He was crazy. Like the ones that the kids can walk in and stuff. He made those.
Wow.
So I worked for him also.
Oh, nice.
And then you were at Citi Field.
Yes. Before the pandemic happened.
Did you get to meet Mr. Met?
I have the picture.
You got a picture with Mr. Met.
Yes, because last year I was the employee of the month, I think for July.
Nice.
So I have an authentic Louisville Slugger with my name on it.
That's awesome.
Oh, wow.
That is awesome.
How nice is that?
I just think it's
like
funny,
big.
It's funny that you go from Disney to taking pictures with Mr. Met. You got there's only
one
guy in a suit.
No, one of my roommates was a Disney character.
Oh yeah, really? Which one?
She played Stitch. No, she played a couple. She played Stitch, Minnie Mouse, and something else. Like she played like the small people.
Okay.
Because there's a height requirement for every character.
Santo, what have you been doing since CIA?
So when I graduated CIA or currently?
A bit.
All right. So once I graduated Culinary Institute of America, I wound up going back to work for my cousin. I worked for him for 6 months and was offered a chance to do a competition for Albert Eastern Imports.
Yeah, but a worldwide competition, not just
Right.
a competition. I mean, an international competition of pastry chefs, which is
Right. So at the time, there was this company called Egypt that was throwing the best pastry chef under 21.
Mhm.
And I was sponsored by Albert Eastern Imports, and I got to go to Italy, and I had to do sugar piece, chocolate piece, bonbons, an entremet with 7 components, ice cream, and a mystery basket. That was the last thing, yes. Because I didn't know what was going to be going on, and you weren't allowed to use recipes. And out of 14 countries, we wound up finishing 4th place. We trailed right behind France. I got to represent.
But 21 teams, though. I mean,
Yeah.
there may have only been 14 countries, but there were 21 teams, and you came in 4th, right?
Yeah. And that was an experience of a lifetime. It was a lot of fun. After that, I was offered a job in DC to go work for the company. But I wound up staying with my cousin. And shortly after that, I wound up working for
Daniel Ballou.
Ballou. Yes.
I know. I can remember what you've done.
I wound up working for Daniel Boulud. I worked at Bar Boulud, Boulud Sud. I worked underneath Chef Gaia. And at the time, actually, she just recently won a James Beard Award.
Wow.
And it was tough working for a woman. And it was even tougher working for a woman at that caliber. Because face it, I mean, men think that we're all great and dandy, but we think we're perfect, but they're 10 times more perfect. And you have to be on your game to work side by side with a woman of that caliber. I mean, like every day it was like, did I do this? Did I get that? I would leave myself sticky notes in my locker to make sure like I didn't mess anything up because I didn't want to get yelled at. And I got to do a event with Marcus Samuel while I was working there at Red Rooster at the time. And Daniel Boulud gave me his blessing to represent his place, which was a lot of fun.
Wow.
Very, very nerve-wracking. Because that's all I needed was like, oh, this kid messed up and I'm working for the best of the best. It doesn't get any better than that. And thank God everything went fine. At the time, once I did that, Richard invited me to go judge one of the competitions for the kids. And I met Chef Phil at the Lighthouse. And he offered me a job. And he's like, what do you want to do? You want to come work for me and work production? I said, I could do production. I've been doing production since I'm 14.
The lighthouse is at Chelsea Piers.
Right,
Yeah.
Chelsea Piers.
Right. Well, not everybody knows that, you see.
Right. And I wound up taking the job at Chelsea Piers, and I worked at Pier 60. And at the time I was hired, we had menu development going on, and the chef at the time wasn't really happy that I had ideas. That's why he's no longer there. And I remember speaking to Abigail Kirsch and showing her what I brought to the table. And last time I checked, they still have it on their menu. I brought them PB&J bars.
Oh, nice.
Sometimes
So-
the simplest things are the best things.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about my bourbon ice cream.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Ooh,
Ooh.
Bourbon
that
brown
sounds
sugar
good,
ice cream.
doesn't it?
Oh, that sounds like right up my alley. I would,
That's right.
Bourbon ice cream sounds really good. I'm going to take you up on that.
yeah.
And
When
I
we
was
get-
working there
when-
for some
when-
time,
when-
quite some time. And I was actually doing 2 jobs because I wasn't making ends meet just working there. During the holiday season, it was good. And then in January, February, I'd be on the schedule for 1 or 2 days because they had no events going on.
Going on.
And it was costing me more money to take the bus than what I was bringing home in a paycheck. And I was doing 2 jobs, and I was working at Patricia's and on the weekends to make some extra side money. Which I did the kitchen part of it, and then they were like, no, you should really try the front of the house. You'll enjoy the front of the house. I never did the front of the house. Like I never went up to a table before in my life, and I didn't think I had people skills to go up and speak to people or conversate with people.
Well, fewer dishes do pile up in the front of the house.
Huh? Yeah, fewer dishes do pile up. And they wound up opening up, a few years later, they wound up opening up a place out in Red Bank, New Jersey. They needed somebody to manage it. And they were like, oh, we want you full time. And I was saying to myself, I was like, all right, you know what? Not making a lot of money staying here and staying in the city. I might as well give it a shot. And that's exactly what I did. I gave it a shot, and I wound up switching out from the kitchen to the front of the house, which was a totally different ball game. I didn't see my career going that way.
But you're still there, right?
Of course.
Right. Yes. And you
And
also.
I enjoy it. I enjoy helping customers. I like to make people happy. There's one side of it. That we all get sidetracked with. Being a chef is great, and cooking is great. Enhancing people's palates is even better. but touching people's heart with food and guiding them is a different aspect that most people tend to forget about. Being the person that they walk in and see, customers, they say, oh, customers are always right. You can never say that they're wrong.
You can't.
And trying to make everybody happy, it's a job within itself. I mean, I kind of like doing that. I'm having fun with pleasing people, and I still get to do my desserts. When I'm bored, I'm my own boss. If I want to make something for the restaurant and put it on the specials for the week, I do it. When I want to go in the kitchen, the guys tell me these are the specials, and I tell them, hey, no, look, let's do it with, let's add saffron, let's add this, let's add that. It's a lot more being more involved, I guess. Seeing numbers, crunching numbers.
And are you open? Is the restaurant open?
Right now, in the state of New Jersey, it's only outdoor dining.
Right, okay.
Food industry, all in all, has taken a hit since this whole thing has happened.
Big hit.
Yeah. Well, that's why we're doing this partially. We want to make sure that all the people that have supported us over the years are that are still working in the industry are still have a voice. There's the, we put together.
And Dominique is looking for a job, everybody, in the culinary field, because as much as Macy's loves her, she doesn't love Macy's as much as she loves being in the kitchen. Am I right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yep. A lot of industries are hurting, and I think the restaurant and hospitality industries are going to be the hardest to come back at full strength.
Yes.
Sure.
Well, I can tell you that the good news is that in Denmark, all the restaurants are open. So that's a good thing to know, that in the future we might actually be able to open again, because I have a friend in Copenhagen who eats out all the time. And he's always posting pictures of his food. He ate at Nona just the other day. So
You too could do that after you quarantine for 14 days before they let you.
no, you can't get into. You're not.
No, we can't go over there.
They don't want Americans.
We're not allowed into Denmark yet, but I'm just saying that
They absolutely don't want
their
Americans.
kids have been in school since the beginning of May or late April. I mean, they just.
I saw a sign outside of a store in England, and it said that Americans must be accompanied by an adult. Well,
certain places though.
As difficult as what's happening in the world is right now, I'm grateful and glad that we're got a lot of innovators and smart people in our corner as well that are helping us to still find a way to put together something for this year for our fundraiser and to keep all the gears in motion. So thank you guys for being available to come and sit down with us today.
Oh, absolutely. I would like to do it more often.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, now we know how to get you.
It'd be like a monthly sitcom.
Yeah. We'd be laughing a lot.
Yeah.